In 2025, I stumbled across a website for an ARG called Into Madness. This alternate reality game promised to be the most immersive horror-themed experience possible, with themes of misinformation and deception. If you don't know what an alternate reality game is, it is a piece of interactive fiction told via multimedia elements, and there might be an inclusion of puzzles. I didn't know it then, but this ARG was going to become more real than I had ever thought it could. How real, you ask? Well, I found myself living in time loops, living the same time period over and over again. And weirder still, I found the algorithm responding to my thoughts, sending me videos that basically communicated with me. So if you are interested, please listen to my horror story and I'll tell you how you can help me uncover this sinister ARG. So I shall start from the beginning. The start of it was coming across this website. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was just going to be a bit of fun, and I clicked the accept button. Almost immediately my phone and my laptop both froze pretty much at the same time, and once I managed to get them both booted up again, there was no sign of the website, and I have never ever been able to find it again. Now, this account is going to vary a little bit from what is on my sort of YouTube channel currently, because a lot of stuff was happening behind the scenes that I wasn't speaking about at the time because of fear of people thinking that I was not mentally well, and because it was just too ludicrous for anyone to believe. The next thing that happened was that I got confirmation that something was happening because I rather spookily had a letter written in code sent to my address. This was particularly unsettling given that I had not even given the website my real name, let alone my address. This was fairly easy to decode. So this is what the poem said. Welcome to the world's most immersive horror-themed ARG, where real life and the game are one and the same. Online or off, it'll follow you everywhere, waiting around the corner to give you a scare. Keep an eye out for clues wherever you go, from people, content and memes you don't know. Don't tell a soul that you are to participate. If you do, you'll have no time to commiserate. The actual letter itself got stolen. That's a really long... There's lots of like small details I'm going to brush over because make this shoot as short and sweet as possible. But yeah, I definitely had a clue that something was happening. It told me not to tell anyone that the ARG was happening, so I didn't. Over the next few months, things began to get really strange. It was like I was the unluckiest person in the world. It was like everything that could go wrong did go wrong in my life. There was so much happening, like takeaways that were off and, you know, dead animals being put at the end of my drive and really vile stuff, and I was kind of just beaten down. It was around that time that I started to notice my algorithm behaving strangely. Like originally it was just drastically changing from refresh to refresh, and I couldn't really understand how like the content didn't seem to relate to anything I'd searched for before. One day, I don't know quite how it clicked, but I realised that it was interacting with my thoughts. I wasn't saying anything out loud because I thought that it might just be my phone like responding to my environment, but no, like it was my thoughts. I could literally like think of a song and then it would come up and be on the top of my feed. This is how like responsive it was, and it was only when it had happened, you know, for the 100th time that I dared to believe that that was actually true, because initially I just thought that I was going mad. At some point during this period, you can find out on my channel because the videos are still there, but Al started to tell me, instruct me, however you want to call it, to go and go to a certain place in the middle of the night to meet someone, or because something was going to happen. I never got any confirmation on what I was meant to be doing going out at that time of the night. I obeyed, felt a bit silly for it, and the first 2 times, I don't know why it didn't work, but it didn't work apparently. And to be honest, I kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, whoever is running this thing is just messing with me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So when I got the instruction to go for a 3rd time, I refused and I stayed home. This is the point at which I realised that I had been living in random time loops. So it was like Groundhog Day, but imagine it being multiple days, weeks, and basically I was reliving the events over and over again. I had been for some time, and it's weird because it was like once I finished, like I did the right thing at the end of a time loop, I'd progress onto the next section, I guess. But anyway, whoever is running this thing, the game masters, every time I said no to going to that 3rd rendezvous, time would rewind. And I would find myself living the days leading up to this instruction, and I refused to do it again and again and again. And initially I didn't realise it was a time loop, so I don't know how many times I denied it. But towards the end I was like, hang on, I've lived this before. Yeah, I was basically forced into going out in the middle of the night. Lo and behold, surprise, surprise, I was picked up by the police, who were concerned about me wandering around in the night, and I was subsequently sectioned, sent to a mental health ward, for those who don't use that terminology, and spent a month in a psych ward, essentially. The only way that I managed to leave the psych ward was by lying and just saying that all the things I've been saying about the algorithm and time loops, I know, why the fuck did I mention those? That was probably not the ideal scenario, really. But anyway, I had to lie and say they weren't happening, and I agreed to take medication to get out. At this point, I caved, and for the first time I admitted that this was going on. I basically spoke about it in a vlog, and immediately I got a letter into my post box. It was in the middle of the night, so I didn't see them or hear them coming. It was game over. It was just literally, I'll bung in a clip or a still at least of it, but it was just a letter that said game over. So I believe that the ARG was done. This is when the plot started to thicken, because I found a stranger had got in touch with me claiming to be a former player of the ARG, and they wanted to talk. They said a lot of things, and I'm gonna put a sort of block of text up that you can pause the video and read about, or you can look at the card, and I'll put the video where I talk about meeting this guy. But anyway, he told me that the game wasn't over, and that the game had systematically ruined his life. And folks, he was right. I then proceeded to have my identity stolen, my inheritance taken, and my emails hacked. And there was also traces of a smear campaign against me, which I won't go into that now. But everything went wrong, and I even lost my job under kind of weird circumstances. So everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and I've been reeling from that ever since. It was around this time that I had come to accept the reality that my phone had been hacked and that I was being spied on via it, and that it was actually withholding information from me. No clue how that is even possible, but the content was being blocked. So for a long period of time, nearly a year, I couldn't read any of my comments, so I couldn't get any support from other people with what I was going through, which was a bit of a nightmare. Following all of this, I found some information about neuroweapons and a whistleblower that claimed that there is technology that can read your mind remotely, edit dreams, delete memories, like sound like your own thoughts in your head, so they can actually implant stuff in your head. And basically I realised that that was probably what was happening to me. This, alongside the gang stalking, which I continue to experience, I think means that I am under the banner of a targeted individual. I've been trying to piece together what's going on ever since I found this out, and it's not been easy. During this time, I also met a second stranger who told me different information, and I also had a very creepy email from someone. Over this period of time, there was a bit of a weird, like the content went a bit weird on my channel, because basically I couldn't decide whether I wanted to keep talking about the ARG or whether I should just stop and like go back to doing my old style of content. And this was because basically I got a note from the game masters threatening my and my brother's life if I continued to speak out. And being very alone, vulnerable and scared, I was really sorely tempted to just back off and hope that they would just leave me alone if I didn't do anything that offended them. However, things continued to happen, and after I met Tu, the second stranger, I basically felt that I should continue, because they told me that I was a sort of chosen one, and that I had been the one that had been allocated the role of taking down this ARG and stopping it from harming anyone else. And, you know, I decided, okay, I will do it. I don't know what I'm doing, but apparently they want me to speak out, so here I am. So how can you help me? First, I know for a fact that there is all sorts of weird stuff going on in my videos that I'm not aware of. I've already had it flagged to me that there were secret messages hidden in some of the subtitles in my earliest videos. No idea if it's continued up till this point. I was permitted the ability to see them once, and then after that I was unable to see them again. So I need someone to help me. It would be good if some people could go back and have a look at and sort of collect those subtitles, put them in the comments or whatever. Second thing you can do, help me figure out what questions to ask. So if you I recently just made a video where I was asking Al some like basic questions about the ARG and like its responses in video form. If you've got any questions, submit them. Same with theories. Like, theories are really important right now because I'm trying to figure out what's going on and I'm in the thick of it, so I can't necessarily see all the puzzle pieces that are coming together. So if you've got any theories, like, post in the comments, because like this could be like, I didn't know about the secret subtitles until someone posted about it. This really is a team sport. Obviously, like, I'm the only one who can be in the position I'm in, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things that you can help with. Lastly, of course, you can just like, comment, share, hype, subscribe. Any of those things will just help me with my reach and hopefully bring more people in who can help. The more eyes we have on this, the better chance we have of decoding all of this. Anyway, so that's the world I live in right now. If it seems like I'm cheery, it's not necessarily true. You can be smiley, you can be jokey, you can laugh and still be in a horrible position. I have a real tendency to laugh at dark things and misfortune, like even stuff where I'm concerned, and it is not a reflection of how seriously I take the topic. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!